Look at that beautiful thing, so full of grace. A kiss for you too, baby. Then I stop, look around and think, wait, am I in Rio de Janeiro? Perfect beach, people smiling, tanned girls in small bikinis, music playing. Look, there's a pagoda right there. Look at that. A beautiful and attractive woman playing foot volley. Damn, they play so well. And playing better than I do with my hands, you know? This is Brazil in tourism commercial mode. I walk through the crowd, get to the other side, put my hand in my pocket, light pocket. Huh? Where's my wallet? Then I get into the Uber, do the most automatic thing in the world, open the window. The driver turns and says bluntly, "Don't open that damn thing. It's dangerous." I freeze. Wait, I'm in one of the most beautiful places on the planet. And the first survival tip is not to even let the wind in? That's when it hit me. Rio operates in two modes. Postcard mode, easy smiles, warm hospitality, incredible energy, beautiful people with curvy figures per square meter. Survival mode, constant attention, alert on, hand in the pocket, and a spider sense you didn't even know existed. And the Carnival? The Carnival is that in turbo mode. It's like you're a defenseless little deer passing near the lions but thrown into a blender with crowds, alcohol, heat, and chaos. And there are still people who call this a cultural experience, you know? Beautiful? Absolutely. Unforgettable? For sure. Now if you think it's just a party, you know nothing. Naive one. And think you're just unprepared. So sit down, because now I'm going to teach you how to survive Rio de Janeiro street carnival. 1. Copacabana and the initial shock. I finally arrive in Copacabana and get that immediate shock. Okay. It wasn't an exaggeration. The curve of the beach looks like something out of a movie. People playing volleyball with their feet. That's right, with their feet, man, as if it were stretching. Here, they call it Altinha. The sea there, the clear sand, the buildings close together, everyone tanned, laughing, leaving, total vibe of, nobody works here, just you. You walk 5-10 minutes, and there you are in Ipanema. Two of the most famous beaches on the planet, right next to each other, acting like a human magnet. Tourist, local, vendor, curious onlooker, influencer, petty thief, everyone passes by. It's a showcase. And a showcase attracts attention. But there's a curious detail. While my eyes are relaxed, my body doesn't get into the mood. I start walking, and without realizing it, my hand is already in my pocket, backpack glued to my back, and my head spinning like a security camera. Has it happened to you? You don't even know why, right? You just do it. It's not fear. It's a quick reading of the environment. That's Rio. You're walking inside a perfect painting, but someone might be analyzing your watch, your phone, or that second when you decided to let your guard down. They look at you and think, that one looks like a fool. Here the rule is simple and not written on any sign. Don't leave anything unattended, nothing, got it? Distraction here is not cuteness, it's opportunity. And the most curious thing of all, this is Rio, on an absolutely normal day, without a parade, without costumes, without a drunken crowd singing along. Brazil already operates electrically in slow motion. The city already pulses on its own. Then I stop, look at that absurd landscape and think, half laughing, half serious. If this is normal, imagine during Carnival. During Carnival, it's a party with gasoline thrown directly on the fire. And the question lingers, did you come just to admire the postcard? Or to have fun in a survival test in the urban jungle? Shori, ya. 2. The number one rule. In Rio de Janeiro, I quickly learned the number one rule, the one no one explains to you at the airport. It's not a suggestion, it's survival. Here you don't bring anything you can't afford to lose. Flashy watch? Leave it at home. Chain? Only if you are invisible, or if you like nail marks on your neck. Big camera hanging around, only if you want to become a story in a WhatsApp group. Wallet full? Better set aside money for therapy, you know? And it's not just my paranoia. No, the atmosphere educates you. All the time someone gives a warning in the tone of an experienced uncle's advice. Put that away, not here. Go quickly. And no one says this to scare you. They say it because they've seen things go wrong. That's when I understood the fanny pack, the security pouch, the so-called inner pocket. It's not an ugly tourist fashion. That's urban armor, my friend. Cell phone and card stay in the secret pocket, stuck to the body, almost like they were my genitals. Actually, I put them inside my underwear. It gets a bit sweaty, a bit gross, just not very fragrant, you know? Because in Rio, especially in crowds and tourist areas, a slip-up lasts 2 seconds, and the hole in your pocket lasts months. And now comes the part that confuses those who romanticize everything. A lot of theft doesn't come from movie villains. No, it comes from young kids, really, trained to catch distraction. Crowded beach, packed block party, drunk people laughing, phones held high. It's the perfect setting for that little black boy to take your wallet without you even noticing. You don't see it. You only feel it later when you realize you've become lighter. That's why the rule is simple and somewhat cruel. The less you carry, the less you worry. And the less you worry, the more you enjoy. Rio doesn't require you to be paranoid. It only requires that you don't be an idiot and a fool. So the real question isn't if Rio is dangerous. The question is, do you prefer to enjoy lightly or spend the entire trip tense, checking your pocket every 5 minutes? 3. Pre-Carnival, the survival test. Until then, I still had that classic beginner tourist idea. Carnival is to arrive, enter the chaos, and that's it. Basic mistake, my friend. The secret of Rio is that Carnival doesn't start on Carnival Day. It starts before, well before. 2 weeks before, the city is already warming up the engine. And when I enter my first pre-Carnival blocko, it hits me immediately. I look around and think, half laughing, half worried. Wait, this is already crazy. Imagine when it's the official day. People in costumes at 10 in the morning, beer in hand, as if it were water, loud music, street closed, people singing things I don't understand, but I pretend I do, and no one seems to be getting ready for anything. They are already prepared. The advantage of the pre-Carnival is exactly that. It's more spontaneous, less overwhelming, less like a million people crammed into the same square meter. You can make mistakes, you can observe, you can learn the logic of chaos without being run over by it. Because Carnival has logic, you know. It seems chaotic, but it has a pattern. Blockos usually happen from Friday to Sunday before the official day. After that, my friend, it becomes an avalanche. The city goes into festive survival mode. And if you don't want to be like a headless chicken asking where something is happening, there's a basic hack. There are life-saving accounts on Instagram that post schedules, times, locations, everything. You don't need to know their names now. You just need to know that without it you get lost. And then comes another detail that completely changes the experience. Costumes. It's not just for show, it's not just for photos. Costumes are social camouflage. Without a costume, you walk down the street feeling like a confused alien. With the costume, you become part of the scene. No one looks at you strangely. No one judges you. You stop being a spectator and become an extra in the chaos. The pre-Carnival is basically that, the tutorial mode before the game truly begins. It's where you learn how to move, how to dress, how to let go before Rio hits the hard mode button. And the question is inevitable. Do you prefer to learn calmly or be thrown straight into the crowd without any manual? 4. When you become a character, that's when you think you've understood the spirit of it, and Rio goes and humbles you with affection. I dress in the boldest outfit of my life, look in the mirror and think, okay, now I've overdone it. I go out on the street feeling a bit stiff, a bit proud, with that classic feeling that everyone is looking at me. 5 seconds after arriving at the block, the brutal truth hits. I'm way overdressed, completely overdressed. There are people practically painted by hand. There's glitter in places I didn't even know the body could accept glitter. There are costumes that are basically a verbal agreement with the weather. Trust that it's working. And the craziest thing is that instead of judgment, the opposite happens. The city becomes a silent pact. No one judges anyone. Everyone shining, sweating, laughing, hugging, as if they were childhood friends. You stop being so-and-so and become a character. There, profession, age, status, nothing matters. What matters is if you join the game. And then comes the part that catches foreigners off guard. Carnival is not shy, not at all. If you show some skin, be prepared. Cariocas don't play mind games. It's direct attention, easy smiles, approach without a manual. And I'm not saying this as a criticism. It's a field observation. The thing gets so intense that it becomes absurd. So absurd that there's an official warning right in the middle of Carnival, a public health alert about diseases transmitted by kissing. Yes, kissing. It's the government basically saying, have fun, enjoy, live the experience, but please, go easy on the tongue. And you stop in the middle of the street, covered in glitter, sweaty, laughing at the situation and think, man, where else in the world would this make sense? At Rio's Carnival, you're not just going to a party, you're entering a collective character. The question is not if you will let loose. The question is, will you resist or will you accept the role the city just gave you? 5. The bloco from the inside. Then I really enter the bloco, and something curious happens. You no longer walk. You are pushed from behind. The crowd becomes a living tide. You try to move forward. It pushes you to the side. You try to leave. It pulls you back. You try to find your friends, and that's it. The social contract is over. Each one was absorbed by a different piece of the chaos. It's like that infinite hamster wheel. You walk, 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 and stay exactly in the same place, just with another song playing. At this point, the bloco is beautiful, colorful, noisy. Energy is high, but that's exactly when the other side comes into play. And it doesn't come in a caricatured way, no. It enters professionally. At a certain point, I stop filming the party and start observing behavior. The eyes are not on the band, they are on the wrists, the pockets, the half-open zipper, the distracted guy filming a story, the glasses slipping with sweat. It's not paranoia, it's cold reading. I see the pickpockets at work. It's not vague suspicion, it's focus, it's timing, it's a light touch, it's distraction meticulously calculated. And then you understand why the block is the place where things disappear the most. Cell phone, glasses, chain, wallet, momentary dignity, everything not well secured becomes a statistic. At this moment, my behavior changes automatically. Cell phone, 2 hands, backpack, off the back and onto the chest, like a newborn baby. Nothing stays loose, nothing hangs. Nothing is left like, oh, I'll check it later. You keep enjoying, but with your radar on. And when things start getting too dense, street closed, Uber stopped, traffic turning into a parking lot, another practical lesson that no one tells you comes in. Sometimes the subway saves your emotional life. While the car is stuck in chaos, the subway cuts through the city below. Fast, direct, without drama. It's not glamorous, but it gives you back control. The block from the inside is like that, beautiful, vibrant, intense, and absolutely indifferent to whether you're prepared or not. The question that remains is not whether the carnival is dangerous. The question is, can you enjoy the peak of the party without becoming part of the statistic that everyone warns about, but no one thinks will happen to them? 6. Rio and the normalization of chaos. At some point, in the middle of all that noise, my brain makes a strange click and I think, this is reminding me of Bangkok. Seriously, flashing lights everywhere, sirens mixed with music, people crossing where they shouldn't, constant improvisation, nothing works properly, and everything works at the same time. Rio during Carnival has the same chaotic logic as Bangkok. It doesn't try to organize you, it overwhelms you. If you resist, you get tired. If you accept, you flow. It's exhausting. I won't romanticize it. You sweat, you walk a lot, you get lost. You need to think all the time. It's not a resort vacation, it's a social survival vacation. But then comes the dangerous part. It's addictive, because in the midst of the chaos, Rio does something like no other place. It swallows you whole. You stop thinking about schedules, problems, unanswered messages. You only exist now, there, in the noise, in the heat, in the excess. And I find myself in a delicious and somewhat silly contradiction at the same time. I'm tired, I'm stressed, I'm alert, and I'm loving it. Loving it, because it's been a while since a place took me out of autopilot like this. Rio doesn't ask for permission, doesn't ask if you're comfortable. It just throws life in your face and says, deal with it. And that's when you understand why so many people come back. Not for the comfort, not for the safety, but for the rare feeling of being alive as hell. The question that remains is simple and somewhat uncomfortable. Do you prefer a place that protects you from chaos, or one that reminds you that you can still handle it? 7. How much does Carnival cost? After a few days of chaos comes the part that hurts more than a kick in the groin, the bill. And here I'll be very honest, straight talk from a friend. Rio de Janeiro is a city that can be quite affordable, as long as it's not Carnival. Outside the season, you can eat well, sleep well, and live well without selling a kidney. Now, during Carnival, the city activates the reverse Black Friday mode. Everything goes up. Hotel prices go up. Uber goes up. Entrance fees go up. Water goes up. Your blood pressure goes up. And the funniest thing is, no one complains. Everyone pays with a smile or crying inside because they think, it's Carnival. What can you do? I stayed in a simple room. Nothing luxurious. No cinematic view. Paid at another time of the year, it would be a normal price. During Carnival, it easily becomes $200, $250 per night if you left it to the last minute. And then comes the classic emotional blow, that moment when you realize you paid more for a single party than for an entire night's stay. Does it hurt? It hurts, but it also teaches, because the secret of Rio during Carnival is not to spend more, it's to spend earlier. Those who book a hotel or Airbnb months in advance completely change the game. Price drops, options increase, stress decreases. And now comes the part that few people tell you because it doesn't make for pretty pictures. Cheap Carnival exists. It exists and it's great. Street block parties are free. Street food works. Drinks on the street cost little. A whole day of partying can fit within a very reasonable budget if you don't fall into the VIP trap, because yes, Rio tests you all the time. Do you want to live the experience or prove that you can pay? Because during Carnival, it's not the city that decides the size of the bill, it's you. And the question that remains is simple. Do you prefer to tell a good story or spend the rest of the year paying off the bill for a night you barely remember? 8. The VIP Sambadrome. Then comes the moment when Rio says, okay, you've already played in the street, now sit down, and I'll show you how this really works. I get into the Marquês de Sapucaí Sambadrome setup, and the first feeling is strange. This is not chaos, it's high-level organization. Quick check-in, facial recognition, line moving, pit stop for makeup, hair, costume, open bar working like a Swiss clock, buffet looking like the backstage of a big sports event. It's literally Brazil in Formula One mode. Everything timed, everything rehearsed, everything gigantic. It doesn't take long to understand the scene, so let me translate it in the simplest way. The Sambadrome is a gigantic runway, like a long corridor, with bleachers on one side, VIP boxes on the other, and the Samba schools parading in the middle as if it were a championship final. And when you realize the scale, there's an internal silence. Almost 100,000 people in there, each school training the whole year for that moment. Costumes that cost a fortune, floats that look like movie sets, people who worked for months, sometimes the whole year, for a few minutes of parade. Then it completely breaks that shallow idea of, oh, it's just a party. It's not just a party. It's culture, it's status, it's hard work. It's an entire community involved. It's a real competition with scores, judges, pressure, and consequences for many people there. That is not a tourist event. It's the most important moment of the year. And here comes the uncomfortable and honest part. It's expensive, it's exaggerated, it's luxury on top of heavy social contrast. I know that. I see that. And even so, I don't regret it, because when the first school enters, the sound hits your chest, the ground shakes, the colors explode, and you understand the level of commitment. You realize you're not just paying for drinks or a privileged view. You're paying to watch an entire country explain itself without needing to say a word. The Sambadrome is not beautiful because it is expensive. It is expensive because there is nothing like it. And the final contradiction is this. I criticize, I question, I think it's excessive, but I would leave there saying exactly the same thing. Expensive, yes, but I wouldn't erase this experience even if I could. A 9. How not to become a statistic. After all this, I reached that classic point of the trip, the moment when you stop and think, okay, now I know how this works. So let me give you the final manual, bar talk version, so you don't learn the hard way. First, arrive early. Pre-carnival is not a warm-up, it's a tutorial. That's where you understand the rhythm, the chaos, the invisible logic. Arriving only on the official day is like skipping the training phase and complaining that the game is difficult. Second, costume plus safety bag. It's not aesthetics, it's strategy. Costume integrates you, bag protects you. Less stress, more fun. Third, don't take anything valuable. Nothing. Nice watch stays at home. Chain stays at home. Anything that makes you check your pocket every 2 minutes stays at home. Fourth, the crowd doesn't forgive distraction. Secret pocket, firm grip on your phone, conscious hand. The one that doesn't exist was quick. Fifth, the subway beats Uber when everything closes. Cars become mobile prisons. The subway becomes a smart exit. It's not glamorous, but it gives you back control. Sixth, and this is underestimated, talk to strangers. In Rio de Janeiro, conversation opens paths, solves problems, pulls you into the experience. Carioca's talk, Carioca's help, Carioca's warn. And lastly, perhaps the most important of all, if someone on the street warns you, believe it. Here, warnings don't come from paranoia, they come from accumulated experience. Rio doesn't want to scare you. He just doesn't pat you on the head. And I keep this phrase echoing in my mind because it sums it all up. Rio is the place where you live the best day of your life with the constant feeling that someone is trying to remind you of it in the wrong way. If you understand this, Carnival stops being a risk and becomes a story to tell. If you've made it this far, comment Rio de Janeiro. Oh, and don't forget to watch this video that's appearing on the screen to learn much, much more. Thanks everyone. Bye.